Right. Hey, everybody. This is Cheryl Harris with Cheryl Enterprises, also known as She Knows, your wellness, fitness, and lifestyle coach. I'm a former bodybuilder and two-time stroke survivor. And right now, I'm on a mission to help other stroke survivors become, reclaim their strength, their resilience, their confidence, and their independence, one movement at a time. And right now, today, we have Cherise King, correct?
Yes.
Cherise King, another stroke thriver, and she's going to share her story with us today. All right, Cherise,
Yes.
let's get started here. I want to ask you a few questions, and thank
Okay.
you for joining me today. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. I'm really trying to interview a few more stroke survivors just for them to share their stories so we can inspire others. That's our purpose here, just to inspire others to keep going, to make sure, let them know that the stroke is not the end, it's just the beginning of a new life. It's not the end of anything. The fact that you're still here is a blessing in itself. You're still here. So because you're here, might as well make it happen. I just say we got another chance to get it right. That's how I look at it. So
Definitely.
yeah. So do me a favor here. Let's do this. Um, let's take me back to the very beginning. When you had the stroke. What happened in the very beginning when you had the stroke, and how did you know you was having one?
Actually, I didn't know.
Okay.
So I had went to visit my extended family in Indiana. So I drove for 2 hours and we were celebrating 4th of July. I was drinking. I got something to eat, and then I started drinking. I had one drink, and then somebody said, "Hey, we have some gummies." And I said, okay, I'll try. They said, be careful because it's strong.
Right.
And I said, okay. So I made sure I ate, and then, which I've taken gummies before, no big deal. Took the gummy, and then I went outside with the kids to watch them at the playground and to get some fresh air. And as I'm at the playground, I'm standing there. A guy walks up to me and he's like, "Is it okay if I light fireworks here?" And I'm like, "No, that's probably not a good idea because the kids are out here." So we're having a conversation. And then all of a sudden, as I, get ready to say something else, I can't talk. I'm like, so he looks at me and he's like, "What?" And I'm, tried to say it again. It came out that way, gibberish. And so he just walked away and I'm standing. And so then all of a sudden I feel a little faint. I feel a little weird.
Yeah.
So I sit down. And then I call my mother on the phone and I'm like, I'm trying to talk to her and tell her I took this gummy and I can't talk. And she's like, "Oh my God, like what? Why would you do that? What did you take? You better be careful, be careful. Call me later." Cause she's like, I can't understand you or whatever. So I sit there. So I call one of the people in the house, my goddaughter,
Mhm.
and she's like, "What are you saying? What are you saying?" I'm like, "Come get me." Cause now I'm realizing I can't stand up. I'm like, "Come get me,
Wow.
come get me." She didn't understand me. She hung up. Like, we got a bad connection and hung up. So then I called my other goddaughter and I'm screaming at this point. And so she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm not, so I kind of got it out a little bit. And I'm like, "I'm on the bench outside." So she comes. My goddaughter is like 6 feet tall, almost 300 pounds. So she comes and pretty much carries me off into the house. At this point, I'm still not knowing I had a stroke. I'm thinking it's the gummy.
Okay.
And so after about an hour, maybe less, I was able to talk. And then when I called my husband and told him, he's like, "Yeah, you need to chill out or whatever. Call me later." So at the time, we were fostering two boys and I had them with me. So I just kind of laid on the couch. They kind of brought me things and everything. So then I tried to get up again. And when I get up off the couch, I fall straight to my knees.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm like, "Oh my God, I got to use the bathroom." So I could literally crawl to the bathroom. Nobody sees me because everybody's gone at this point. and I crawled to the bathroom. I can't even get up on the toilet. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. It took me like a very long time to get on the toilet. I used the bathroom. I crawled back down on the floor and then get back on the couch. So at this point, I'm like, something's wrong. So I called my husband again, and he's like, this is by this time it's in the morning because I had did that a couple of times, and he's like, do you think you had a stroke? And that was like the scariest thing because his mother had had a couple of strokes.
Oh,
So
wow.
he was kind of familiar, and he's like, do you think you had a stroke? It's not like you had a stroke. He like, you still in the same, he like, from a gummy. He like, that sound like a stroke. So
Yeah.
that was the first time I heard the word stroke. And so I was just devastated because that word,
Yeah.
when you think of stroke, you think of debilitating, you think of really, really bad
Older people.
situation. Yeah. So now I'm sick to my stomach. I'm scared. I'm like, I want to get out of here. So he
Yeah.
ends up coming and getting me. And basically they had to carry me out, couldn't walk. And then when I went to the hospital, I get home, I try to take a bath, I can't get out the tub. So he's like, yeah, you had a stroke. And so we get to the
Wow.
hospital and they end up telling me, yeah. And the most beautiful part of the story that I like telling is, I was really devastated at this point. And I really, I had already had health challenges before for decades. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this. Like, because I thought this is
Right.
how it would be. I didn't know I didn't know anything about a stroke. So I didn't know you could recover from it. So a young lady, they asked me, the doctors come in and ask you like how you're doing and things like that. And I'm like, I'm not doing good at all. I wish I was dead.
My
So
goodness.
I say that, yeah. And he's like, what? So they put me on a 24-hour watch, suicide watch, where somebody had to sit there all night while I had all these tests done.
Right.
And so the first young lady, she sat there, she read a book, she didn't communicate with me or anything. When she got relieved in like 4 hours, another young lady who was really young, she had to be like 24 years old, came and sat. And we ended up having a conversation. And she ended up telling me that she works upstairs in the stroke unit. And she's like asking me to do things. And
Yeah.
she's like, "Can you touch all your fingers?" She was
Yeah.
like, you don't have anything in your face showing you had a stroke. She's like, girl, I'm telling you, you're going to be okay. You're going to get past this. And really just gave me a pep talk that I really needed at that point
That's good.
to move forward. Yeah. And feel a little like, okay, I could do this. And so that is how that started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an incredible story there, honey, because like you said, when you think of stroke, you think of debilitating, you think of at least I did as well too. I'm in agreement with that. You think of,
Paralysis.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
paralysis, can talk forever,
Mm-hmm.
can't move, you walking differently.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Older people. That's what I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was for. Older people, much older than
Mm-hmm.
we are, you know. And that's what you think of. And I know, imagine, I'm with you on that. And just it's just interesting how everything started there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so thank you for walking us through that and how that started and all that. What was your? I know you said earlier, but what was your initial reaction, emotional state of action after you had the stroke? What was your
Well,
emotion?
like I said, when I initially had it, I thought it was the gummies. So I really was like oblivious to what was happening to me. It was very scary, but I was laughing it off because I'm like, wow, I am messed up.
Yeah,
This gummy really tore me up.
like no more
But
gummies for
then
me.
once I got in the hospital and they told me, I was very devastated.
Yeah,
I was really it was one of the scariest moments of my life
I bet.
because they just yeah, they didn't really have much to tell me. And they just said it appears that it came from a blood clot and you're gonna have to we're gonna run a lot of tests. You're gonna
Mhm.
stay here for a couple of days, and then what it looks like is you'll be going to physical therapy.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm telling you that it took me about maybe a year. I would say a year, a good year to even be see that I get that.
right, right.
To be able to say I had a stroke. I wasn't able to say it out loud. for
Yeah,
like a year.
you was in
Yeah.
denial.
Yeah, it was very scary for me. Just, very scary. And I just thought death. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's why I said that to the doctor, because it was just like, okay, I'm gonna die.
right,
This is,
right.
so yeah, and then but once the young lady, I'm telling you, she was like a guardian angel, because once she told me how people are managing on her unit, with the drooling, with the
Yes,
paralysis in the face,
yes,
they can't feed themselves, they can't ever walk, and things like that. They're not able to go to the bathroom on their
yes,
own. They're not able to control
yes.
their
Incontinence.
yeah. She was like, no, you good, and like literally tested me. So that kind of inspired me to
Good.
say, okay, if that's the case, then yes. And she just kept telling me to do this. The whole,
Yes.
like, she's like, just sit there and do that. And yeah, when I got to rehab, they were very supportive.
Good.
And it was during COVID, which was
Oh my
scary. Yeah,
goodness.
now that was the worst part. It was
Oh,
during COVID, so nobody could come see me.
is that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I basically did it alone, which was
Oh,
really hard.
oh man.
And the nurses and the physical therapists, they were so, I mean, so
Good.
supportive mentally. I mean, because they
Good.
knew it's challenging enough to go through this, but have to do it by yourself, where you can't even hug your
Absolutely.
husband.
Right.
You can't see your loved ones come up there and like give you a hug and cheer you on in person. Very difficult.
Oh my goodness. I felt. Oh my goodness. I felt that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that COVID thing, by nobody coming to see me. I felt that because I look forward to my daughters coming to see me.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
my
because you
goodness.
had it before COVID.
I did.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. I had it last year. I'm one
Oh,
year.
okay.
I'm a year and a half. I had it after COVID.
Okay.
Let's see, my mother passed away after COVID, and all the other things that came along with it. Now, you told me they told you had a blood clot. So, do they really know what caused it in addition to
Hmm.
clot?
So I had been on a blood thinner because I've had pulmonary embolisms before. Pulmonary embolisms are where you have blood clots in your lungs, and a lot of people die from them, or they become paralyzed as well. And so I had two of those before. And so the consensus was to be on it for a long time, which I had been on it for years. But after you feel good, sometimes
Oh,
ignorance
it's
would
gone.
just say, yeah, I don't need it.
Yep,
So
yep.
I stopped taking it. And that's what it came from.
So you stopped taking the blood thinners.
I stopped taking it.
What
And
was
they
you
were
on?
just,
Was you on warfarin?
yes, I'm on warfarin now for the rest of my life, they said.
That's what they told me
Hmm.
too.
Yeah, that you got to be on it for the rest of your life, which is scary to me, because I remember when they first gave it to me and I did my research, it says it causes strokes.
See, I did my research as well too. Here's my thing, and by the way, everybody, you know, Charereese is sharing her story. We're sharing our story. You continue to follow, as a disclaimer, continue to follow your PT, your OT, and your PCP, and your internal medicine doctor. This is
Definitely.
just to share a story and let you guys know where we are and where we've come from. But please do what your doctors say do, or do what you decide to do. This is just information and education purposes only. I'm with you as well too. I'm like, you're not going to tell me I'm going to be on a medication for the rest of my life. That's not healthcare to me. That's not
Hmm.
healthcare. Healthcare, that's actually maintaining something. So
Hmm.
I'm with you on that, because I'm like, what did you have to do what's called an INR? You had to prick your finger every day
You
and
know
breathe.
what? They won't give me the machine. And
I
I
got the
know
machine.
that's I know that's a Chicago healthcare thing. I know it is because one of the people that I was working with through my employer, telehealth, couldn't understand why I didn't have one. If you have to be
Right.
on this for the rest of your life, why don't they give you that machine? So then she made a suggestion of reaching out and finding out if I could get it. And they're like, "Oh, that machine is too much on your insurance." And at the time, I had Blue Cross Blue Shield, and
As
they're
much as
just
they
not.
cost, as much as they cost.
Yeah, and they said no, it's too expensive unless you want to pay something like $4,000. Then you can't have that. So I basically go every, I don't know, 30 to 60 days. Like I just went, it was too high. So now I have to go back in 2 weeks and get it checked again. But
Okay.
it's constant monitoring. But what used to really get me is, and I knew something was off with the medication because sometimes when I would yarn after taking it for years, I would get like a spasm, like,
Oh
you know,
wow.
and yeah, and it felt kind of, it felt strokish to me. I mean, that was what I thought, like, that cannot be good,
Right. Right.
so I just realized that after this ordeal, that exercising for me is very important, getting that movement in because it seems
Yes.
like every time something has happened for me, I wasn't getting body movement in. I wasn't
It's
eating
important.
properly. I wasn't hydrated. And so now I kind of just focus on those things and just having, I had to give myself some grace because I was working and then I started feeling like it was a possibility that I could have another one.
Yes.
I felt sick. I felt overwhelmed. I was discombobulated. And I just came home and told my husband, like, I need to get a job up. It's too stressful and my health is priority now. And I
Right.
don't care how it looks to anybody because people will look at you and say, oh, you look good. You look fine. Like, why you not working? But at the end of the day, your body. You have
Facts.
to listen to what your body is telling you. And my body said, we're not going to be able to do this on a daily basis. This is too much.
Your body
So
said sat down somewhere.
yeah, relax. It's I think in our society, especially as Black women, it's kind of hard for us,
Yeah.
to realize that we need rest.
Yes.
When
But
everything is on our shoulders like it is, getting rest. I've learned to take naps now. It's okay to go
girl,
lay down and have a nap at 1 o'clock. I think people admire that. If you really want to know the truth, I think if you really had people just be honest, they would admire being able to go take a nap at 1 o'clock in the afternoon
yep.
for an hour, and then I feel good, I feel better. So yeah, I just have learned to take care of myself in a better way.
And I totally agree with that. It was a lot of people shocked, including myself, that I had a stroke because I'm a former bodybuilder. So
Mhm.
I practice healthcare,
Mhm.
wellness, active,
Mhm.
being very active, eating
Mhm.
right. Now I had my vices, don't get me wrong. I wasn't perfect. I had my
Mhm.
vices, but when I was preparing for a show, we were very strict with our diets, very strict.
Mhm.
There's so much we had to eat. And so, so little we had to eat. It was a lot of things. I'm very active. I mean, I used to leg press 630 pounds, for 12 to 15 reps.
Mhm.
Not going from that to couldn't walk. That's crazy. So,
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
get it. You're absolutely
And
right.
this is what's really ironic is when I reached out to you, I then found out as a close friend of mine, she just had what is possibly they're treating her as if she had a stroke, but they're saying she had an aneurysm,
Yeah.
but
Those kind of,
not an aneurysm. So I'm trying to get her to. I don't want to scare her, but you have to really ask questions because
yes,
if it's not making sense to you, you need to know what's going on. And they just haven't asked enough questions because she's saying that they're saying the clot is outside of her brain and it's an aneurysm. And I'm like, we were in rehab. I went to visit her. I'm taking her to the doctor and stuff tomorrow. She just got released. But we were in rehab discussing this, and I realized just tone it down because she's nervous. I know how this
yes,
feels, and it's
yes.
overwhelming. I'm not going to drill you right now, but I am going to talk to her about you need to find out what's really going on. So now she had to go to physical therapy, and this is a woman who wore 6-inch heels.
Mhm,
Who so this is very going to be very difficult for her emotionally,
mhm.
and I think challenging as a woman, in her way of being and presenting herself to the world. And I told her, don't you worry about putting on no heels. You get comfortable, you relax, you get you some rest. And what's really ironic is she has to leave her job for another health condition. So at least she has that where you like don't have to worry about work and things like that. And I think stress can really, your environment, even in your home, or outside, can trigger a lot of things. We don't give stress enough credit on how it can really tear us down and cause health issues.
My YouTube channel talks about that. So I got a lot of videos from when I was doing my fitness, and it
Hmm.
talked about health, wellness, and stress, and giving yourself grace. I made a whole video of that. Actually, I did a live video on that, saying giving yourself grace. Stress will take you out, and
Yes.
most of the time, the stress comes from it's not even your problem. Most of the time.
Mhm. Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time, it's not even your issue. It's you
Hmm.
taking on somebody else's issues.
Yeah. Oh, basic. Oh, definitely, definitely. Or holding your tongue when you should speak up. And
Facts. Facts.
resentment will eat you up too. And not advocating for yourself. And that's what I'm learning to do. Because I think for me, I
Good.
used to be,
Good.
before I had health issues, I was really combative. So I kind of attributed, okay, maybe I'm having these health issues because I'm so argumentative. But then once I got sick, then you change. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
well, let me just be quiet. But then I realized if I don't advocate for myself, nobody's gonna do it. So
that's
you
right.
you know you have to find that balance.
That's true. And I
Hmm.
really like that you were there for your friend. You were advocate for your friend there because she's not in a position to actually do as much research to ask the questions. She probably don't even know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. My daughter spoke on my behalf the entire time. So I didn't
Hmm.
even know what questions to ask because my cognitive skills were impacted.
Hmm.
My speech was so the trying
Really?
to yeah, my cognitive skills were definitely impacted. My brain had trauma to it. That's what stroke
Hmm.
is. Stroke is has it's called
Hmm.
I have what is called aphasia.
Hmm.
Aphasia is trauma to the brain. That's from the stroke, and it affects your speech. It affects
Hmm.
whatever side, Um,
Really?
say it again.
I didn't know about that. I've
Oh
heard
yeah,
of that. I didn't know you had that.
yeah. I had aphasia, and which means I couldn't do nothing. My daughter had to pay all my bills. She had to do my insurance,
Mm.
do my insurance for me. She had to call my job at the time to communicate with them, get everything. Like if this had been during COVID, I don't know what I would have did because she did. When I say everything, everything on here. Give me a second. So it's really good that you were there for your friend. Yeah.
Hmm.
And people need people like that.
They do.
You
They
were there
do.
for a friend. My
Yeah.
daughter was there for me. Both of my
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah, I think that, that's the most that you can do. I had found out late into it, because you're scared.
Yes.
So another
Yes.
friend told me they saw the post, and so I immediately jumped on it. Because even being in the hospital, even if it's not for a stroke, can be very scary and overwhelming.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so and I just realized, self-care and all those things, they're very important. So I'm taking her to the doctor appointments tomorrow, and then we're going to get our nails and our feet done, and try to get her back into feeling good, about herself. Yeah.
Good. That's really, really good. She's blessed to have that. That's really
Hmm.
good because
Thank you.
it's really sad that a lot of people don't have that type of support.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you have your support, correct? You do have your
Mhm.
support. So, what type of support do you have now in terms of family, hospital, rehab, and things like that? What kind of support do you have there?
Well, I have my husband and my mother.
Okay.
And then I went back to physical therapy. I told my doctor I think I need it again. So I'm currently going to physical therapy again because like I said, it was something about my job and I felt like the stress. Well, what I'm learning now is the stress has triggered a few things stroke related. And one of them for me is walking.
Yes.
And I started to notice that at work, and even my clients were noticing it, and were asking me, "Are you having back pain? Lift up your foot." Like, my foot was dragging and things like that.
Yes.
So I said, you know what? I talked to my doctor. So I'm back in rehab. I feel good about that. I try to work out at least 3, 4 times a week. Walking the treadmill. And I still have trauma walking the treadmill because the treadmill used to be my jam. Like working out before a stroke, like I
Right,
would walk, man, the treadmill was it. And
right.
now it's challenging because I can't run. I
Yeah.
used to be able to run and now I can't run. And my
Hold,
goal is to
hold
be
on,
able
hold
to.
on. You can't run yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can't run yet because sometimes I have a cart and I'm at the grocery store and I just try,
Right,
something to say, try now,
right.
and so I keep pushing for that because that's important to me. But I get on the treadmill and every time I do, there's a trigger there that I have a picture of. Remember when you had this stroke, they had you in stirrups, and I was, walking on the treadmill. So I really feel grateful and blessed to be able
Good.
to stand and walk because I see people who are still struggling. And when you see it, you know it as a stroke survivor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know. And I'm like, oh, wow, like that could
Well,
be me.
yes.
Yeah.
How long have you been post-stroke recovery? How long has it been?
It's so weird because I had my stroke in 2020, and I always say hindsight is 2020. Like I could never forget that year because it was like 2020 vision.
Yeah,
Like what is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to teach me?
absolutely.
Yeah. So I really went within for myself and I stayed home for like 2 years and I like to work. I like to get out and so I went back. But it was really a bad decision because it
Mm-hmm,
scared me
mm-hmm.
because I couldn't remember things. And like I said, you look fine. And so
Yeah,
people are like, what's wrong? I couldn't remember codes and things that we have to, use
yeah,
every day. And people be looking like, or I wasn't grasping things or learning things. And it really
yeah.
hindered on my self-esteem because
Yes, it
nobody
does.
knew. And I just don't want to share that information with everyone. Well, initially I didn't because like I said, it really took me a long time to be able to say I'm a stroke survivor.
It's
You know?
embarrassing. It's like, no, that's not me. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to share that part, but you got to share it so people can help you.
Yeah.
You
You
never
you
know,
You know what? I don't like the pity. I've never liked the pity thing.
for sure.
And so once you tell people that, it's like, oh, well, come on, let me help you. You need some help, and I don't like that. So that's, I think, what kept me from saying something at my job. But I think ultimately people knew something
Yeah.
was going on, but they didn't know what. Yeah.
All right. I want to say this, and thank you for sharing that. If the Zoom cuts off, we got to come back in for it because I'm on a different version of it. So if it cuts off, we'll come back in and finish the recording. Okay.
Okay.
So and thank you for sharing that thus far. You and I have a lot of things similar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what has well, let me go back. I want to go back to one point. You talked about rest.
Mm-hmm.
Rest is part of the strategy. It's essential, not just sleep, but rest. And you're right about that, taking a nap. I will go lay down and go to sleep in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I did it when I was bodybuilding because, we go so much, we do so much. We had to take that afternoon nap because more than likely I had to go back to the gym for round two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So getting those power naps or hour naps
Mm-hmm.
is essential to,
Very much.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rest is a strategy for recovery. That's
Mm-hmm.
a healing process.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
and people don't get that. So, you got your friends, your families, and all that um, helping you so far. And thank you for sharing that with me. Let me look at this here.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure I got all the things. So now, how is your perspective changed since your stroke?
Um,
Perspective on life.
a lot. A lot because I had a very good job. Like I said, I stayed home for 2 years. I decided to go back to work. Well, no, actually, I stayed home for 3. And then I said, I'm jumping up. So in 2023, I jumped up and I'm like, I want to go to work. So I went to work. And like I said, for me, working is a part of my identity.
Okay.
So for me to have to resign and give it up, and realize that I need to take this summer And going forward, it would be longer than the summer. But I said, give yourself this summer. Give yourself a summer to be out in the sun, to relax, to get some rest, to stay home because you can.
Yes.
Can. And at first I
And
was like, how am I gonna do this? Oh, and I said, you know what? I have the capability. My husband is able to manage everything, and
that's good.
insurance is not an issue. So let me just stay home. So my perspective really has been health over everything. Health
Yes.
over everything,
Yes.
health and
Yes.
exercise. So I realized that for me, getting up in the morning, getting out, getting some exercise really helps the ticker up here. It keeps me in a
Yes.
positive space.
I love to hear that. You know, that's my jam. I love to hear when people are taking the initiative to, do the health and the wellness and working out and eating right
Hmm.
because that
Hmm.
plays a part in it. Now,
Hmm.
prior to the stroke, were you were you a smoker, a drinker, or
Hmm.
anything like that?
Yeah,
Because they said
both.
some, okay, they said that's contributes to part of the stroke as well too.
Both.
Yes,
Both. And
yes,
I just picked up drinking, and I'm like, why am I drinking so much? Ever since I've been home, is, when I was working, I didn't drink as much. Now I'm
yeah,
home and it's like every weekend, I'm drinking. So I just told my drinking partner that we gotta chill out. We gotta find something more positive, because
yes,
when I first had the stroke and I would drink, it would make me feel weird and uncomfortable and not good, and
yeah,
I had noticed that, and I'm like, oh no, like I can't drink, like no. And so as I tried it again, because going out and partying with people and trying to have some normalcy,
yeah,
um you go back, and
yeah.
I'm like, you know what, I realized, like, large crowds, being around a house full of people, a lot of noise, it doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work. Yes,
Yeah, so
that
I
didn't
like
work.
to.
That didn't work for me prior to the stroke. It definitely ain't gonna work now.
Oh, I used to be able to be in a room full of people, and uh, you know, but now it's like concerts. Especially when I think of a concert, oh no, oh no,
Yeah,
no, no. Like, I guess it's just brain overload or
yeah.
something. Like, I get
Right.
really uncomfortable and nervous, and I feel out of place. Brain fog. I can't.
All right. So we're picking up where we left off, everybody. Thank you for coming back. You left off stating that, you didn't like being in concerts or crowds and things like that because that bothers you, or you get, what was that other thing you were saying? You said you don't like crowds that just don't sit right with you.
Right, no, over loud concerts,
Yeah,
crowds, any, no, no, I'm not comfortable with them right now. It just brings me a lot of anxiety.
yeah.
I don't know why. I don't try to figure it out. It's just where I'm at right now.
And you're just
So
not gonna do it.
yeah, I'm just not interested in doing it. Mm-mm.
I agree with you. So, are you on some? What is your daily routine like now? What do you do on a daily basis in order to continue to recover?
Well,
Um,
I love routine. I'm very routine orientated. So I get up, I go to the gym before I can even think about it.
Good.
Um,
I
and
love it.
I've been pushing myself this week. For some reason, I feel really lethargic. So now I'm like, okay, let me have something in the morning. So I was doing some research today on what I could take in the morning, kind of give me some energy.
Yeah.
But I work out. I stay there for about 45 minutes. I do the treadmill because that's important to me to get my walking. If I don't get that movement and practice that walk, eventually I find myself kind of walking weird and, just all
Yes.
over the place. So I'm like, that's important to
Agree.
me. And then I go and pretty much start my day. I probably will either come home and have something light to eat. I try to either have eggs in the morning and something, alternate that with Greek yogurt or a smoothie,
Okay.
and then doing stuff around the house. Usually I have a lot of errands to run. I have been more busy being home, it seems like, than at work. I'm
Yes.
constantly moving, and I have to tell myself, stop. Like yesterday, I was just like, I worked out, I went to Home Depot, and I was like, I was tired when I got up in the morning. So I said, just go home and take a nap. It's
chill out.
okay. Yeah. And then I couldn't get back up. So I slept for like 2 hours.
If I
And
lay
then I
down,
was
if
like,
I lay down,
okay.
yes, if I lay down, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm like, now get up, So I got up and then just started cooking dinner. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And that's pretty much every day.
That's every day. Okay, cool. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. And so you kind of keep active. One question,
I yes. Mhm.
what side was affected? What side was affected due to your stroke? Right or left?
Clot was on the right side, left side is affected.
Right. That's what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you have like strength in your left side now? You have strength and you have mobility really, really good, or you still working on it?
Oh yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know. Like you would not know just looking at me. Like God has blessed me
Good.
so where I don't look like what I've gone through.
I love it.
Um but it's so funny because I used to have really long hair, really thick long hair, and the trauma, other parts of the body will take on the trauma, even
Yes, it
though
will.
you're okay, you look fine, but my hair follicles,
Yeah.
it was too much trauma. And so my hair is really weak, really thin.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah. Yeah,
That's
everything is
interesting because the opposite happened with me. My hair just grew out of, just grew.
yeah.
It grew crazy because although I have long, thick hair anyways, but I ended up cutting it short. I had the red hair. And then, after I had the stroke, my daughter had to do my hair right now. So you can comb your hair and all that right now. You can do that. Well, you have short
Mm-hmm.
hair now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
I
didn't
can't,
have
I
a
can't,
problem. Yeah.
I can't comb my hair just
No.
yet. No, I can't comb my hair just yet.
Yeah, but you're early into it. You know what I mean? It just happened a year
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Yeah. So that will change too.
for sure. And I'm working on it, but mostly my daughter does my hair for me. So I wear these protective styles and things like that because I was
Mhm.
going to go to my stylist that I would fly back and forth to Chicago to get my hair done. And my mother was like, girl, that's an expensive haircut. It's an
Yeah.
expensive hairdo. I
Yeah.
said, but I don't know nobody out here. I ain't letting them in my hair. I don't do
Hmm.
that. So wherever my stylist is, I'm flying to her. I don't care. I'll find
Hmm.
I will find a discount ticket through Southwest Airline and get the best that I can, and then get to her, find out where she is. And I haven't had my hair done by her since I moved out here, so it's been a while.
Really? Who
Yeah,
does your hair?
me or my
No,
daughter,
I mean who put you in Chicago?
Chicago.
Yeah, when you come to Chicago, where are you going?
Oh, oh, I go well when I come to Chicago. My girl, she moved. She moved to Texas.
Wow.
Yes, so now I got to
Everybody's getting
find
out of
her.
here.
I have to
Everybody's getting
find her.
out of here. Wow. And it's
Yep.
so crazy that you would say that because my hairstylist is the one that sent me your link. And
Really?
yeah, we've been friends for 20 years. Yeah. And she sent it to me.
Well, I appreciate that. Let her know I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that. And I really do thank you for participating in this. Now, do you have anything that you'd like to share with the audience in terms of, do you have anything like a book or any products or anything that you'd like to share that you want people to know that they can be a part of, or anything you like?
No. I was working on my business, a juicing vegan business.
Okay.
However, I will say that just juicing for me, I think has spared me some things. And, they just can't understand how I'm able to beat the odds of everything I've gone through. And I juiced for years.
Yeah.
I ate smoothies for years, even before it was a big thing. I'm talking about starting in 2010. I
Okay.
was doing it. I've always researched health and wellness things and what I could take because there was really not a lot of understanding on like first confusion I had was what's better, butter or like what kind of oil should I use? Vegetable oil. I remember having that debate. Like when I had to, you got grown and was on my own, I'm like, I don't know what's best for me,
Right,
and how do I know? And
right.
so I started doing my own little research.
There you go.
My mother has always been into wellness, and
That's good.
when I was younger, taking mangosteen juice and stuff like that, people were like mangosteen juice. What is that? So I would just say, look for things that can calm inflammation,
Yes,
whatever that is, whatever it looks like for you, juicing, do your research. Exercise and body movement to me is I think essential for everybody that has a stroke. Don't let those triggers send you off because you can get better and regain your strength. For
yes,
me, my trigger is steps. When I go down steps, it still pisses me off
yeah,
because I used to I was the person hopping down the steps.
yeah,
And now I can't do that anymore. But that's okay because I'm gonna do it one day because I practice every time I go down steps. It's like a learning,
yeah,
like a class. Like in my
yeah,
mind, I'm like, okay, let's turn the body, let's get this right. We could do better than this. Use both
yes,
feet, and just being in a positive environment.
yes, good.
Being surrounded around positivity, I think is very important. And I believe in mind over matter. You have to give yourself positive talk, and you have to be around positive people,
Totally
because
agree.
yeah, you have to
Totally agree.
change. You have to change. So something triggered it, and you have to change whatever is going on so that you can live a long life.
Facts.
Hmm.
You actually said everything that I was going to ask you. Like, what would you leave the people now? So you just answered all that
Yeah,
right now. And I totally agree with it. I appreciate you sharing that. I hope you guys are listening. And it's not the end, it's actually the beginning of a new thing.
a new beginning.
Yes, the
Hmm.
new beginning. So there's a lesson behind this. There's a reason why it happened to you. You may not know it just yet, but there's a reason why. And my thing is just to keep showing up and keep
Hmm.
showing up for you.
Definitely,
Your goals is to show up for you so you can live.
definitely.
So you can live.
And you
And
still here for a reason.
still here because it could have took you out.
Yeah,
When I was in rehab, I felt like I didn't belong there. I was
yeah,
like, what am I doing in here? Ma'am, you had a stroke.
yeah,
No, no, I don't
yeah,
belong in here. I can
yeah.
recover from this,
And the rehab experience is one you'll never forget,
baby.
because I think you're coming from an infant state of mind.
Yes, yes,
And then when you get out of there, you kind of become a toddler. And I remember watching a guy, he was working there and he was volunteering or helping out, and he could hardly walk. But I looked at him and I thought, man, if I could walk again, I would be so happy.
man.
If I could walk like him, and now I'm able to walk and I don't need any assistance. So, I think of these things all the time and I'm really grateful.
I'm in agreement with you because you do. You're like an infant. You're a toddler. So my kids had to take care of me. So
Yeah.
my youngest daughter said, "Well, the roles are reversed now." Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And it is. I just
Yeah.
that played on me. It was
Yeah.
pride. It
Yeah.
was it was I don't want to put this burden on y'all.
Yeah.
I'm the one that takes care of everybody. I don't want
Mhm.
you doing this
Mhm.
XYZ. No, I'm the one that takes care of you all.
Mhm.
Although they're adult, I have adult children, so
Mhm.
but I'm
But
still the
what? At the end of the day, they rather do that than having to be, taking, making other plans, making other arrangements. So I think that's a blessing for them as well. And
yes,
I
it
think if they really think about it, it's like, man, yeah, this could have been a lot worse,
could have been worse.
and grateful to have you there. So
Absolutely, because everybody stroke have different types of strokes, and there's different ways to recover, and
definitely,
everybody recovers differently. Depends on what your lifestyle, environment, like you said earlier, your environment, your support system. It
yeah.
depends on what you have around you now, and it also depends on your journey, your determination. You know,
Hmm.
and I always tell people there's no motivation involved with this because motivation is not real. Motivation is
Hmm.
not real. Discipline is real.
Yeah.
Your will to show up is real. What do you want to do? What do you
Yeah.
want to accomplish out of this? Do you want to keep depending on people? Do you want to get this thing right?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I really do appreciate that, and thank you for your tips that you left for people. Let me make sure I just have everything here. Um, you gave me your mantra. You told me everything what you want to do and what you're currently doing, what people should do going
Hmm.
forward.
Hmm.
Thank you for sharing that with me. And do you have any other resources or things that you can share that you use that you can share with somebody else, like any resources, maybe apps or
Um,
rehab?
I think for me, I start utilizing things like Green Chef, because cooking, and just making life easier. So instead of
Yeah.
shopping, because I get really, I talk about this all the time. Is like I get worn out very easy, and
Yes.
so now I order my food online and go pick it up. I
There
make
you
things
go.
much simpler. I order my food to be delivered here with all the ingredients that I've pre-selected and cook my meals from that way.
Yes.
I
Good
just
stuff.
make life much, much, much simpler and easier and stress less stress.
Stress
Yeah.
less. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely mind over matter. You got this. You can always defeat this. If you
Yes.
believe up here you can. It's all about what your
Yeah.
determination is.
Yes. It's
And
about from here up,
yeah,
which will change from here down.
yeah, I'm here
I
to tell
totally
you.
agree with you. I totally agree with you. Girl, you speaking my language, so you know I already know. You speaking my language. I've been talking about this for years. I've been in fitness for over 25 plus years.
I
I just
saw.
I've just been in a bodybuilder since 2013, but I've been in fitness for a long time. Even when I was pregnant with my daughters, I was in the gym.
Mm,
I was working out in the gym. Even when I was pregnant, girl, I was like, nope, I got to go to the gym. Even I was with my
wow.
yep, I was in the gym working out with a belly.
And so I know for me, I think my environment played a large role on it, as
Yes,
well as just not taking care of myself. What do
yes.
you think your trigger was?
Mine, well, mine, I won't go into detail here, but
Hmm.
mine was obviously it was a lot of things. It was, you know, I was still mourning my mother,
Hmm.
and I was going through some personal things with that. Um, you know, some things happened after that that,
Hmm. So
you know,
stress and grief.
yes, stress and grief. Stress
Hmm.
and let me ask you this: did you get help? Did you get like therapy, mental health
Yes.
therapy?
Oh,
Good,
yes. Still
good,
in it. Still in
good,
it. Hmm.
good, 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 good.
Yep, for years. Yep, been taking it for years because you have PSTD well, whatever you've gone through, either in a large way or a small way, but it can cause you a lot of anxiety,
It
to think
does.
about. And it's scary. It's
It
scary
does.
because before you leave rehab, they're constantly telling you, and I had to tell them, like, please stop saying that because you're scaring me. Oh, you're at risk of having another one. You're at risk of having another one.
Yeah.
Please don't. Okay, I got it. The first time you said it. Thank you. I got it. So just, it can be very scary and cause a lot of emotions. And I'm talking to my friend tomorrow. My whole game plan with her tomorrow, when we do this running around,
Yeah.
is to be that support. And
That's
to
really
really
good.
encourage her to get therapy,
Yes. Yes.
and to get a routine. If it's just walking, don't lay around. Like, don't sit around on it. Try to get better,
Yes.
and do something for your mental health.
Yes.
Whatever
That's
that may
really
be.
good. I'm glad to
Hmm.
hear you there for your friend. May you continue to receive strength and different types of ideas and things and ways to help your friend and yourself. I'm really
Hmm.
glad that I know she's glad she got you.
Yeah. I think that when you've been blessed,
Yes.
that you can't just sit on. I think that's why you created this platform. When you've gotten a second chance
Yes.
to have life again, you don't want to just sit on it. You're more empathetic to others,
Yes.
and you feel the need to pay it forward. I think something happens, where it's like God puts it on you, like, okay, now I need for you to help somebody else to pay it
Exactly.
forward. Hmm. You
Exactly.
feel good
And
about that.
that's the reason why I do it so other people can share their stories
Yeah.
because I've talked to a couple of people and they're just like, like this. Now, I don't like negative talk, before I had the stroke. I'm definitely not going to take it
Mhm.
now. So my
Mhm.
mindset, even though I had aphasia, my mindset is different because I still have the mindset of an athlete.
Mhm.
I was a bodybuilder, so I'm still taking that, as well. What I'm going to create today? I create my own workout. I create my own therapy. I was in the therapy telling them, I was doing this at home. Oh my goodness, yes, and they said, well, I know you know what to do. No, but still, I want you to do your job.
Right. Yeah, I
I'm not
seen
the
your
therapist.
videos and I saw some things like that when you were doing the blocks with the foot, and that
Yeah,
reminded me of me because I have that problem. Like when you realize, like, hey, my foot would not do what I
it
wanted to
won't
do,
lift.
and then it's kind of interesting because, like I said, for me, it's the steps. So when I really
Yes,
see it, it's the steps, and I'm like, okay, now why we gonna get this together? Like, because I think that determination kicks in. Like, no, we gonna change this. We've
yes.
come this far. We gonna keep it
Back.
going. Yeah.
Well, you ain't got
So
no choice right now because, like you said, you got another chance to get it
yeah,
right.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just
I
like I used
feel
to say, the mothers of Zion used to say, never take advantage or take for granted the activities of the working limbs that you have on you. Because, baby, when during this time, in the ninth month of my recovery, I developed frozen shoulder. I couldn't even raise my arm, and now I can. I
the
couldn't
body is
before.
wonderful,
Ain't it
and
wonderful?
yeah, and God is good. So
I
yeah,
couldn't do it before. I
yeah.
could not raise my arm. I was doing so good. I was lifting my arms. I was doing all the finger works that you were talking about at home. I got all kinds of games and puzzles and
Mhm.
mind things that I can do to help myself. I got
I
the
saw that. I put it in my card. I saw that, and I'm like,
baby.
okay, now that could probably help a lot for me. Yeah,
Yeah, and I got the PVC pipes you can get from Home Depot to help you with your stretching,
I
your
saw
arm.
you. I
Baby,
saw
I don't
that.
play. I don't
Yeah.
play.
I have a walking cane and I get embarrassed to walk with it, but I think I'm going to keep it in the car because when I walk long distance, it's I get
Yeah.
all over the place, and I'm like, I need my walking stick,
Yeah, you
to,
need you
to
need it.
keep
You
it,
need it.
yeah, to keep things linear. So yeah, I mean, it's just work in progress. It's
It
always,
is.
it's
It is. And
always.
my left leg still hyperextends. So I I have an AFO with me. So I put that on, but I don't walk around with it in the house, but when I go outside I do. But when my daughter's supposed to come over today so we can go to the gym, I was gonna videotape and make another video of in the gym because I do a lot of stuff at home. Right here in
Mhm,
my living room. I do a lot of stuff.
mhm.
But I really like the gym. I really
Mhm.
like the gym. So
Yeah, I saw the things you had on your legs too, because when I was on the elliptical, sometimes my knee just, like you were saying, pops back, and I never even, nobody ever talked about that. And so I saw your video, and I'm like, my leg does that too. I'm like, I need those
you
because it
need an
will pop.
AFO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will pop back. And I'm like, so I was in your wish list for stroke recovery, and I'm like, I like the resistance things, and it was
Yes.
something else I saw, and the books.
The
I said, you know
books.
what? I do believe in that because I think you got to keep it going up here. You got to keep it going. Like, and now I'm home. I'm not read. Like, I have a book. I'm taking it with me to the beach. I have to really make myself. Like, I don't want to. Like, my
Yeah.
brain is just like, we don't want to do that.
You just want to lay down and go to
You
sleep.
you want to lay down. You want to relax. Stay in relaxation mode. And I'm like, I'm taking this book. I'm taking my glasses, and we going to read at the beach under my little umbrella and get
There
some
you go.
sun.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an audiobook girl, so if I read a book, it's gonna put me to sleep. But I love
I
audiobooks.
know it. I have audiobooks too. I have two on that I'm supposed to be listening to now, and I'm like, oh my
Me
goodness,
too.
like I got to do
You know what?
better.
Get this audio in there. Atomic Habits.
I'm reading the book. That's what I have right here. I'm looking at it. I'm taking this to the beach. That's what I'm gonna read. I wanted to read this myself. I didn't want to get it on audiobooks. I was like, this is a book I want to keep. And so
Yes.
I've actually read like 10 pages into it because I just got it, but it was, it made me go to the gym, and I started on the treadmill at 15 minutes. So every couple of days or something, I'm like, okay, let's do 17. The elliptical started off at 5 minutes, and now I'm up
Yes.
to 16
There you
minutes.
go. There you
Yeah,
go.
so I'm like,
I
just
love
a
it.
little bit, little bit, and I like that idea, just incorporating a little bit more. So,
1% increase every day.
Yeah.
1%. That's all you got to do. Like you said, if you did
Yeah.
15 minutes before, now you're doing
Girl,
60
you
minutes.
just blew my mind with that. That is insane. That is definitely a sign. I
Keep
am about
going.
to take the book right now and
Keep
read
going.
it. Yeah.
I like being read to, so I don't mind, listening to the audiobooks. I like being read to. I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you this one last question and I'll be done with it.
Okay.
Medication. Were you on a lot of medication in the beginning?
No. No, I wasn't.
Really?
I wasn't taking anything. Actually, high blood
Really?
pressure medicine. High blood pressure medicine. That's it.
And the warfarin.
I wasn't taking the. I had stopped. I had stopped, and they were
Oh
like,
my
"Oh,
goodness.
they just berate me. They, oh, that's why you had this stroke. If you were on the blood thinner, this wouldn't even happen." Okay, well, it did. I'm here. So let's just move forward. Like I won't stop taking it now. I take it very serious, as a matter of fact. Like
Yeah.
and then but sometimes it gets scary because I'm like, okay, did I take it today? And that's what sometimes I get that scares me because
That
I
brain
can't
fog.
remember, so I have to do something when I'm taking it so I can say, oh yeah, I took it when I was doing this, I took it when I was putting those books up. If I don't correlate it with something, I will
So here,
forget.
let me help you out with that. I take warfarin as well too. I take it after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I know I won't forget. So you finish eating, did you take your warfarin? Plus, my
Mm-hmm.
daughter won't let me not do it. I have to report to her every day I do stuff. I was
Mm-hmm.
on 10 medications every day at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was on more than 10 in the rehab. When I got home, I was on 10 medications. Warfarin was one of them. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, they said. High cholesterol, my opinion, everybody, high cholesterol is a myth.
Look, when they gave me all that stuff when I was in rehab, I said, "Why are y'all treating me like I had a stroke from high blood pressure?" And then they were like, "You didn't?" And I'm like, "No, I had a
No,
blood clot."
no,
So, I just didn't even take it. I mean, they did that to me when I was in rehab. They treat
yes,
everybody, I think, the same. And I was
yes.
like, I don't need all this stuff. Like, that is not my issue. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. Like they put a lot on us. And I read a book that is called "We Are Not the Same," and they talk
Yes,
about how when they do the charts for
yes,
where we should be. I think that's why they say all of us have high blood pressure, where we're
yes.
high vibrational beings. So yes, ours are going to be high. Every black person on high blood pressure. That's not a coincidence. But they
It is.
said the range of the scale that they use is for Caucasian people.
It is. And I'm glad you said that. It's the same thing for cholesterol. The test that they did is for our counterparts. They making everybody do this. We are not made up the same.
No, we're
We're
not.
not made up the same. Our
We're-
DNAs and everything is the same. So they put it all black people on high blood pressure,
yeah,
black people on high
yeah,
cholesterol. The
yeah.
last person I interviewed, or no, my first interviewee was Calvin Randall. And I asked him, was he on a lot of medication? He said, no, I'm just on. I asked him, was he on warfarin? He said, no, I take a baby aspirin every day. I said, he said, I'm on the baby aspirin, high blood pressure, and cholesterol pill. I said, you're not
Mhm.
on warfarin? He said, nope, I'm not on warfarin. And the machine that you were talking about earlier is called a coagulant machine to take your
Mhm.
INR to prick your
Mhm.
finger.
Mhm.
It's like they gave it to me. And you're right, it must be an insurance thing because
It
mine
is
was
in
denied.
Chicago and Illinois. Yeah, it is because I've talked to other people and they have it, and I'm like, why are they making it so difficult for me to have it? But again, they
Now
they,
you got to
they
go to the doctor and get it checked all the time, or you could just take it home.
at least every 2 months I have to go. That's the
Well,
longest I get is every 2 months.
guess what? I have to prick my finger every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I have to do it and do my readings. And, to do the reading and then I have to log it into the app to make sure everything is okay. I was like, can we do this, like, change this? Why do I have to keep doing this every Tuesday? Because my poor little finger's hurting. I'm not a
Mm.
diabetic. I'm not a
Mhm.
diabetic. And they tried to say I was pre-diabetic. It's like, no, y'all not finna go there with me. No,
They did that to me too. My what is it, AC1,
INR.
my AC1 or something like that is
Yeah.
high. Well, I
Yeah.
eat a lot of fruit. you
Yeah.
know. So they were like, yeah, you need to slow down on the fruit. And I'm like, as much as I've studied, health and wellness, you need fruit. Like, so I never understood that, like, and people aren't getting diabetes from fruit.
No, they're
That is
not.
not where it's coming from.
No, they're
So
not. Let
they tried
me
to scare me with that, but that didn't work.
let me share you what the internal medicine doctor said to me, and then I'm gonna let you go because the thing is running out anyway. When the you know what the internal medicine doctor told me? At the end, he says, when you go back home, Cheryl, no holistic stuff. I was like, what? No holistic stuff? What do you mean no holistic stuff? And I was like, he said it so quick, and it didn't dawn on me till like, you
Yeah.
say no holistic stuff to me
Mhm.
because vitamin K impacts the warfarin.
Right. Hmm.
Greens, avocado, you can have it, but you have to have it sparingly.
Yeah, that's what I was telling my friend because they're having her on it as well. And she wasn't even told that. She had
Oh
no
wow.
idea. She had
Oh
no idea.
wow.
She had no idea.
It impacts your INR readings. So
Yeah.
I remember around Thanksgiving, my daughters came over. My daughter flew in from Chicago, came over, and they made. I love greens. I love turnip greens. My daughter makes some collard and turnip greens together. Well, I like to eat leftovers, obviously. I kept eating. My INR numbers shot up so high, and I said I was trying to figure out why it shot up so high. I was eating greens every day.
Hmm.
You can't do it. You can't do
Yeah.
it. So I had to
Yeah.
pull
They
back.
said don't. Yeah. They have me on it so that I high enough so I can have it because I am a green eater. I believe I was raised that way. If you don't have a
Yes.
vegetable or something green on your plate, something wrong.
Yes, something wrong.
Yeah.
You'll cause
So
other things to happen. But I'm looking to go into visit some other holistic practices. I don't know if you heard of Dr. Yaki Awakening.
oh, please, honey. I'm trying to get her to go see him
I want to go
because
see
they
him.
can't tell her what it's from.
I want to go
Like they
see
can't
him.
tell her, why they're just saying they're treating her for a stroke, but she didn't have a stroke.
They
So
don't
they're
see.
basically telling it makes no sense. And I'm
So
like,
you
you
playing
need
with me. You playing with me. You playing my health.
look, I ordered his book, I think it was $170. It's coming out next month. I ordered it when he first announced it. Like him, Dr. Sabi, I have sea moss in my refrigerator. I was doing that 10 years ago. My
Yes.
husband put me on Dr. Sabi 20 years ago and I didn't listen. But yeah, I am a real just a firm believer of Yaki awakening. And I tell
Yaki.
anybody if something happens to me, again, I'm going straight to him.
Yep. And I
I'm
want to
going
go to
straight to
him,
him.
but my daughter, oldest daughter, she's more towards modern medicine than the holistic stuff. She's like,
That's okay.
well, she's like, because she's in charge of a lot of my stuff. And she said,
Mhm.
well, you just can't juice your way back. I said, yes, you can. Actually, you can.
Tell her to look up a book called The China Report. China is a China report or China study. They have proven yes, you can. These people, and there's a show on Netflix about it. I think it's called The China Study. They have taken people who were in the most detrimental health
Wow.
states and have recovered them in 90 days by giving them fresh juice, vegan diet. They have proven it. They have proven it.
The
So they
China
have proven it
report?
to people. Yep, the China study. I got a big book of it around here, but I was totally into it like maybe like 5 years ago because I had another health scare and I was like, no, we're gonna figure this out. And so I started juicing like crazy. And that's when now recently they're like, oh yeah, your A1C is high. If you juicing, you shouldn't be juicing like that or
That's
smoothies.
crazy.
Honey, I learned about once you learn about antioxidants and free radicals, that is a tale.
That
That
is
is not
crazy.
true. And that's what I like about Yaki Awakening because he really looks at us as a people.
Yes, as our
Yeah.
DNA, our
And
culture.
then looks at facts, looks at this is what they don't want you to know. This
Yes,
is what is being hidden from you.
yes,
And proves it by
yes.
showing people that have testimony, changing their whole life around. But it's called if you want something more factual and something more I don't know, mainstream. It's called the China Study, and I believe it's a show on it. The same people who wrote the book, they're on YouTube. I mean, Netflix,
Okay.
and then Forks over knives too. That's another one. Have you seen that one?
What's
Forks
that?
over knives. Forks over knives.
Oh yeah, forks over knives.
They show how that's how you can change your diet from in your life by what you eat.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that yeah.
I'm definitely going to look at those and put these in
Hmm.
the description of this. And I
Hmm.
appreciate you again. Thank you very much for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you for
sharing your
having this
story.
platform. We need it.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
And I'm going to find the China study on Netflix right now. Look at it.
Thank you. And I'm coming to Arizona because I want to check out those spas. I'm
Come
gonna
on,
reach out
baby.
to
Come
you.
on, baby. Come on. Let me know. Let me know.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you very much, Cherise. I
All
appreciate you.
right. Yo,
Okay,
you
bye.
have a good day. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye.